Howdy everybody and welcome back to the channel. No, this video is not clickbait. You should take 8 a.m. classes. As I'm sure a decent amount of you know, I'm in college. I'm about to start my junior year, my third year as a college student. I'm a history major. I started off in fall 2023 as an agribusiness major, then went to agricultural communications and journalism, then went to general studies, and then officially switched to history spring 2025. And history is where I am to stay. But I am being dead serious when I say that 8 a.m. classes are better. Obviously, you're not always going to be able to get 8 a.m. classes. Like last spring, my earliest class I could take was 9:10, and that's going to be the same thing with this fall. The earliest class is 9:10, but the earlier the better, at least for me. And here's why. So when I first started registering for classes the summer before my first year in college, I thought, oh, awesome. I don't have to show up to school at 8 a.m. like I did in high school and middle school and elementary school. I can show up whatever time I want. I'm going to build my schedule how I want it. I want afternoon classes. That's what I was telling myself. I want classes later in the day, so that way I could do my homework in the morning. I can study in the morning. I can do all my stuff in the morning. If I have questions, I can email my professors in the morning. And then after that, I can just go to class, come home, and chill. That was kind of my thought process. And that thought process brought me to 5 classes my first semester of college. The earliest class I had all week started at 11:30 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, my only class was 3:55 to 5:10 p.m. And also on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I had another class from basically, I believe I had to Q drop the class, so it's not on my calendar, but I believe it was like 4:30 to like 5:20 or something like that. It was late in the day is what I'm saying. And I thought this was going to be the perfect schedule. I thought, man, I can wake up at like 8 a.m. every day and be perfectly fine. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I can wake up at whatever time because class is until 3:55. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be very nice. It should also be noted that this first semester I also had 2 online classes if you're wondering where the rest of those classes are. I started that semester with 5 classes, then I ended it with 4 because I had to Q drop 1. But anyways, that's what I did, and that was my most miserable semester. I would wake up sometime between like 9 and 10, maybe 11. I lived off campus in an apartment, so I had to have commute time in order to get to campus on time for class. And I would always wake up late. I never did anything in the morning. I would rarely eat because I oftentimes just woke up late because that was my first semester in college. I had very little self-control over my personal well-being. So later classes weren't really a good thing. Fast forward to spring 2024, my second semester in college, I had an 8 a.m. class. It was an 8 a.m. history class, and I thought, oh god, it's an 8 a.m. class. I'm going to have to thug it out. Like, it's going to be like, because I had to have that class. And it was a history class at that time. And I ended up taking that class, and I thought, wow, this is so much better than last semester. And I know that sounds like such a cop-out to say, like, ooh, wake up early, get a good start to your day, but it really works, at least for me when it comes to classes. I like having my classes in the morning and not in the afternoon. And I say that because you wake up early. It's miserable, don't get me wrong. I don't think, oh, I'm up early in the morning, I'm happy. I'm not happy, I'm miserable. But wake up early in the morning, thug it out for the morning, get your classes out of the way, and then you're able to come home, go back to your dorm, your apartment, whatever, and then you have the rest of the day, and you can just chill. You can do work, you can take a nap, you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about getting somewhere in the afternoon. During my fall 2024 semester, I only had 1 class I had to show up for, and it was an 8 a.m. I had 1 8 a.m. class, and I had 3 online classes for 4 classes total, 12 credit hours. And honestly, having 1 class at 8 a.m. was kind of nice, because I would show up, go to my class, get anything I needed to get done on campus done, and then I would be home before noon. I could go grocery shopping before noon. I could run to Walmart and get stuff. I could get stuff done, like, basically all before noon. Nobody's on the road that early. Nobody's, it's not rush hour trying to get home. It's nice being able to get things out of the way early. Now, with that being said, I am also not your typical college student. I'm not in a fraternity. I'm not super involved in orgs, and I don't go out with friends. I don't go to bars. I don't party. I've never been to a college party. I went to a bar, I think, twice for the radio station. Basically, all I do in college is I go to class, I get my work done, I do stuff for the radio station, K&M, and I make YouTube videos and stream. That's pretty much what I do in college. And honestly, I'm very happy. The going out and being out isn't really for me. That scene isn't really for me, but if it's for you, by all means, do it. I'm just talking about my experience and how it's worked for me. I see a lot of people complaining a lot about having to take 8 a.m. classes, which, don't get me wrong, I would rather not show up somewhere at 8 a.m. just to listen to a lecture. But on the other hand, I think it's better than waiting till the afternoon to listen to a lecture. Sort of the lesser of two evils. Although I'm saying it's the lesser of two evils, but like, if you're in college, you literally signed up to be there because you want to be there. I like early classes because you can wake up early, you can pound some caffeine, thug it out, and then you have the afternoon to yourself. That's why I like early classes. Now, that being said, early classes are sometimes not always in the cards you're handed. For example, I had to take a mandatory class for my history degree, spring 2025, and the only class available was, I believe, from 4:10 to 5:25 on Mondays and Wednesdays. Sometimes there's just no escaping a late class, and that's fine. You're not always going to get the classes you want, trust me. But hey, that's just part of the college experience. You got to do some things that you really don't want to do at some point. But one thing I will say is if you have to take a late class, try. You may not be able to do this because of scheduling, but try if you can to try to get all your classes in one day. And just stay with me because I liked this system for me, and I'm just reporting on why I like this system. So spring 2025, this last spring, I had no online classes. I had all in-person classes. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I had 4 classes, and on Fridays, I had 2 classes. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I would get to campus around 8:30 or so that way I could walk all the way across campus, which was about a mile for me, to get to class starting at 9:10. From then, I had another class at 11:30 and another class at 12:40, and then a big gap for my last class that started at 4:10 and ended at 5:25. Basically, I would leave my apartment at around 8 a.m. in the morning and not be back until after 6, at least on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then on Fridays, I would get there at the same time because I still had the 9:10 class, but then I would leave at 1:30 because that's when the 12:40 class ended. In my opinion, the beauty of having a schedule set like that is I can be miserable on Mondays and Wednesdays and then just have Tuesdays and Thursdays off. Well, have them off. Basically, I can just wake up at whenever I want to and then get my work done throughout the day and not have to worry about going to class those days. And then Friday was just partly miserable because I could leave campus at 1:30. Basically, I like to start early, end late, so that way I can just have a day. Like I said, that may not be in the cards for you. I've been lucky enough where I kind of get the classes that I want for the most part. I have had some where I don't get the classes where I want, but for the most part, I've had really good schedules. This fall 2025, I've kind of lucked out where I've been able to get early classes every day of the week. I would show you, but I don't exactly want to dox my classes to the public so like you know where I am throughout the day. So maybe I'll release it after the semester's done, so that way you can see what kind of schedule I had, and I won't be there at those times anymore. But this semester, I plan on taking 1 online class and 3 classes, 2 of which are on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and 1 of which is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the latest it goes out of all those days is 11:10. I personally would much rather end my school day at 11:10 a.m. than start it at 11:10 a.m. Hell, I'd rather stop it at 11:10 rather than start it at 10. But hey, that's just me. Basically, you know, it's summer right before college is about to start. The fall semester is about to start. If this is your first time taking college classes, being in college, whatever, don't believe the propaganda that 8 a.m.s are the worst thing ever to exist. They aren't exactly the most comfortable thing. It is a lot. 8 a.m.s in college are definitely a lot worse than showing up at 8 a.m. when you're in high school. I will concede that they are a lot worse, but it is a lot better to take early classes so you can just chill out for the rest of the day. Again, I say chill out because, you know, you still have homework or meetings with professors, office hours, study, whatever the case may be. You just basically, by chill out, I mean you don't have to worry about being at a class in the afternoon. If you don't stay out, if you don't go out on weeknights, you'll be good. Which I'm not sure you would want to do that anyways because it's a weeknight, you have work or class or whatever. I'm not in that crowd. I don't go out ever because I'm a hermit. So that's just me. That's totally fine with me. That may not be fine with you. You may want to go out. You may want to go party and do the college thing. So that's totally fine. Just know that you might be missing out on having a very effective schedule, at least in my opinion. A very effective schedule that allows you to live your semester more comfortably. Again, from my experience. But anyways, that's my 2 cents. take 8 a.m. classes, take 9 a.m. classes, get your classes out of the way as early as you possibly can in the day, so that way you can just stress in the morning and have the afternoon off. Just pound some caffeine, because let's be honest, most of us are addicted to caffeine anyways in college. Drink your caffeine, get wired, do your stuff in the morning, chill out in the afternoon, so that way you don't have to worry about being somewhere. If you were indecisive about your classes, I hope this helped. Early classes are awesome for me, and that's coming from someone who, as I discussed earlier, took later in the day classes because I thought it would be better, but it was not better. It was worse than taking early classes. That's coming from me. I hope I helped. If you're trying to figure out what classes you want to take, I hope I helped. I don't know what to say. That's just my experience. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.